There was some oomph in that key. She said, Minazuki. Playtime is over. This review video may be a little bit different than my normal ones just because of how special Bleach is in my heart. So once October 11th, 2022 came around the corner, I was setting up shop. And I also felt like that guy because I've been saying for the last 4 years, Bleach is coming back, Bleach is coming back. And there was no inclination that Bleach was ever coming back. I didn't read the manga because I was trusting the process. So yeah, before I get started, obviously there'll be spoilers for the first portion of this season. I'm gonna call this season 1 just because I feel like it's easier to understand. If you haven't seen the new Bleach, I would highly recommend this because you're missing out. And honestly, if you're not a Bleach fan, I don't think you're welcome here. No, I'm just kidding, but I would highly recommend if you haven't seen it. And if you want to get spoiled, then here we go. And I mean, the show off the bat was so beautiful, I damn near almost turned it off. I didn't even want to watch it at that point because I already saw the amount of care that was put into the show and the effort, and it really was disgusting me because we had these hollows looking like some titans, but some sexy ass titans. Like, it was really good, and the line work on the art and the animation, everything, it was really like smooth. We were introduced to these two characters who were like some new main characters, and then 5 minutes later his friend is on the brink of death and they're about to munch on him. These two Soul Reapers, I don't even remember their name, but their purpose was to introduce the show and introduce the main cast back into the action. And they did what they had to do, and they got their salary pay, and just leave it at that. They don't have to do anything else because they did what they had to do for me, which was introduce my brothers and sisters and my singular sister. Ichigo from across map pulls out a beautiful Getsuga Tensho and has me screaming. I haven't even seen the nigga yet. I'm screaming like I just saw a roach. And then we have Ishida and Chad, and I see Orihime's little force field. I'm like, okay, baby, we back at this. Now, if we're talking about glow-ups, I don't know if this is appropriate conversation to be having now. Orihime, it really aggravates me that the first frame I see of Orihime after their 10-year hiatus is this side shot where we see, I mean, do you want me to take off my clothes? Like, what are you asking me to do here? If I'm seeing this, and I feel like the more she heals, maybe the more bodacious she gets, and I know she's a bread eater too, so I think that contributes to where this mass is accumulating. I get it. You want to look good doing your job, but your first aid responder, how am I supposed to feel if I get injured, right? And I'm bleeding out and I look up and I see you? How do you want me to react? Because I think I'm just gonna bleed out more. She's playing a dangerous game, but oh man, she is just, that voluptuosity is just off the charts, and it really needs to be contained. Something needs to happen here, but I'm dwelling too much on Orihime. But me seeing Ichigo pull up in his new Tommy Bahama sandals with his sword on his back, acting like he's not even afraid of the competition up in here, and I'm looking at these hollows, I'm afraid, I'm shivering. But if I see Ichigo pulling up like this, yeah, I'm done. Call my family, it's been great. I wouldn't be able to contain the amount of excitement that I have seeing Chad's sexy ass sitting here sideways, Ishida with his science coat, and Orihime, and we see Ichigo pulling up, but he's just got the drip on him, man. But yeah, no, so the show started like they had such a great introductory show, and we get the little Ichigo room scene. Ichigo has got that substitute Soul Reaper drip as usual with the red Octobers in the corner. They thought they could really subtly put that in there. That was the first thing I noticed if you watched the reaction. Another plus of the show is the pacing, because we get right into the action. Like, we're chilling in the room, and then this random ass dude pulls up with his work boots on Ichigo's bed. And Ichigo's got his priorities in check, because we aren't dirty up in the Kurosaki household. Would you youngins like to know my name? My name is Asgyaro Eburn. Any other questions? I don't know who you are, and I don't think anyone asked any questions, but can you please get your size 7s off my bed? I didn't catch what you just said. Say that again? Man, I said get your lightning bolt eyebrow looking, Anna and Elsa frozen boot wearing self off of my fucking bed right now, bitch. Nah. If I'm Ichigo, I would not want those boots on the place where I'm about to lay down Orihime. That's all I'm saying. But of course Ichigo kicks him in the mouth and runs that bit. Why wouldn't he? I'm doing the same thing. You are not pulling up through my window. And I had that shit locked. How'd you even get in here? And again, the pacing, this is just the first episode alone. They really had, honestly, one of the best opening episodes of the year. Like, I'm thinking of it like Attack on Titan had a good one. Demon Slayer, I don't even remember what happened in that one, but I think Bleach may have had the best opening episode of the year, because we have these Quincy's pulling up Black Mask like they're the fucking Akatsuki in the head captain's office, whole ass Soul Society, and you pull up here. That is just wicked activity. It's just the manner that they pulled up, and they weren't even ready to fight either. That's the thing. They did not pull up to the captain's office intending to fight. They just stated how they were going to fight him, how they were going to take over the town, and then just drift back into the shadow. I forgot his name. He didn't even get 5 seconds of screen time, and he was dead. He got impaled. Once I saw that, I was like, oh no. And then we learned like they're taking the Bankais and shit when Ichigo's fighting that other dude And I didn't know what type of threat they would be dealing with, you know, with this Yawatch character. His own men having some beef right in front of him. I don't know when he did it. He didn't move a muscle. Slices and dices the right arm off. So he's not going home tonight, and he's gonna have to switch to lefty. He's scaring me. Ichigo ends up going to Hueco Mundo, where the other dude actually has Harry Bell captured. They end up having a little boxing match, and it ends up becoming cool. Once the Quincy say, "F it, we're just gonna run up in the Soul Society and cause havoc," that's when this started getting crazy. We see our two initial Soul Reapers here talking to Aizen's little brother, and then this Yawatch dropped a Quincy airstrike on the Soul Society. Every single sector, it was just a different drop in. It's like they had the battle bus above the Soul Society, and they were just dropping in. And there were characters getting killed off like I didn't even expect. Like Lieutenant Kira, gone. Yamamoto, Ichigo, where are you at? As they're dropping in, this guy's talking about Shiver and Fear's Soul Reapers. I don't know if he's like a model for Vogue. I don't know, but he says they're about to purge us all. I'll let him purge me. Those are some immaculate eyelashes. He must be from like some exotic country like Greenland or something. And now that we're like 3-4 episodes in, this is sort of where all the individual battles kind of start, and really where we had about like maybe 2 or 3 fight of the years. But no, so far what I have to say about the show, the animation, I think everyone and their mother can agree with the fact that the animation in this show, like, you wouldn't expect it to be this fucking good for Bleach. And I am being biased just because I am like a very big Bleach fan, but it's like, if you wanted this show to come back, you honestly couldn't have done the animation any better than it was. Genuinely, if there's one thing perfect about this first portion of the season, it was the animation. Choreography in a lot of these fights, they were looking good, and all these new character introductions as well. And I'm not even at the good shit yet. And some of the fights, like, include like the Big Fox dude and this girl, and these Quincy's, they talk shit. This girl, she probably just graduated high school, and she's talking shit to Mr. Fox Captain. They made a doggy like you, Captain. Damn, y'all must be understaffed. She could say it. She could say it. She could say the word. I don't care. But then we also have fights like Renji and Byakuya taking on Nacho Libre and Byakuya's evil cousin. And during this fight, honestly, Byakuya was getting bodied. But I mean, I won't lie, when I heard Scatter Senbon Zakura, I was bricked up. Definitely. I was excited to see those little pink flower petals swirling around doing no damage to my boy. Byakuya gets beat so bad that he becomes one with the concrete. It looks like they're about to repaint this building red at this point because he's part of the remodeling process. That's how bad this nigga just got beat. We have yet to see Kenpachi. Keep in mind, this is where I know Kenpachi belongs, in the Soul Society prison, right down there with Aizen, but a level below. They need to make a whole new security level for Kenpachi himself. Because while everyone is struggling and bad, they need assistance. Call AAA, someone. Kenpachi, sword on his back, goes right to the source of all of this madness. You'll watch. Skewers 3 dudes on his back. And he's not struggling either. He's been in the weight room because he's walking as if there's no weight on his back. That guy's probably about like 70 pounds. He's really small and frail. This dude's at least 200. Other guy's probably in the 160, 170 range. And then ultimately, within about 2.5 seconds, Kenpachi gets beat so bad. I've never seen him in a state like this. I thought he had a chance. And then we pan to the captain, Yamamoto, and we have some bozo ass bitch who has the audacity to steal his right-hand man's Bankai that they just killed and try and use it on the captain. And the purple lightning during the scene was so, oh my, I love a good piece of lightning. And this Yamamoto is standing in the lightning, barbecuing the top of his bald head. He mitigated everything. And then he walks up, slow as hell, to this future NBA player, because this nigga is towering at about 7'3". And this man Yamamoto is absolutely repulsed at the fact that he stole his subordinate's Bankai and is hitting him with it at such weak capacity. He's talking to his dude in the afterlife, and he's like, I could feel your frustration, man, because this man who stole your Bankai, he is sorry, and I can't stand for this. I can't stand for this weak ass shit. I can't stand for it anymore. This is where I got scared. I was trembling at this point because I knew Yamamoto was strong. I didn't know we were barbecuing. Honestly, this is not even barbecuing at this point. We are searing and burning. This dude was the originator of the firewall. This man, Yamamoto, with no left arm. And at this, I completely forgot he lost his left arm whenever that happened or whatever. Yawatch has Kenpachi by his neck on some Undertaker activity, about to give him the most grand choke slam in all of Soul Society history. Yamamoto pulling up with a wall of flames behind him. Fire on the feet. And this man is so fast that he left a Back to the Future fire trail behind him. He took Kenpachi right from Yawatch's grasp. I couldn't even, I blinked and this nigga had him in his arms. And if you're upset by the way I pronounce Yawatch, sorry. I know it's Yuhabaha or whatever. I'm saying your watch. There have been a lot of turning points. This is the one. This is the turning point where I said, okay, I need to get medicine. You're watching Yamamoto. They fought back in the past. So this is sort of like their round 2. And he says, I've come to put an end to your life. You are not going to step on my grounds, my household, and do this to my underlings. And they just start letting loose, and I really can't even keep up. Like, they're having a little bite, they go on the roof, and then they start throwing the tiles. But this man Yamamoto, I don't know what he did, but he screamed, and I think the tiles turned back and turned on fire. I don't know what happened. He is doing some gymnastic twisters in the air, and you see him charging up, and he's about to let out a menacing swing. Oh my gosh. And then your watch cuts that shit in half, and then his beautiful dude to the side, he's like, damn, this is out of my pay grade. This is where I had a conundrum. This nigga pulled all of the moisture and all of the flames out of the air and made this shit a desert in an instant. And my twin over here, Shunsui, needs some chapstick. As do I. That's where we kind of relate, because his lip cracked open. So he already had dry lips prior to this. He could have left it at this, and I would have been impressed. The tip of his sword skids off the ground. Why did this shit cause a fissure in the Earth's core? What the what type of shit is this? With the tip of his sword, anything he touches just dissipates into, it doesn't even exist anymore. I don't know how that shit works. This is what he does, and he's giving him that pressure. This man says Zakano Tachi west, when he says Zakano Tachi east. But there's 4 directions. His first portion of the Bankai was east. He says west. This nigga puts on a trench coat of flames. His sword is engulfed. This man is so hot. He's turning the ground into molten lava. He said 15 million degrees Celsius. How is this buddy still standing in here, though? That's my question. This is where I lost my mind. He brought out the southbound Bankai, and I'm gonna try and replicate what he said. He brought back the dead ashes of everyone. And I know if you've seen the show, you know this, but it's just so mind-boggling to me that this is what I was witnessing with my own 2 eyes. He said, Kakajuma no Kushidai Shijojin. Yep. That was the one. If you see a move that is one word, that is more than 5 or 6 syllables, I think we know what time it is. That is a 10-syllable word. And I forgot what the specifics were of all his enemies or all the people he cut down or someone else cut down, but it is so beautiful. And this is why this is fight of the year. Because then lastly, as he's having them dogpile on your watch, he pulls out his North, gives him that astronomical slash, slices him in half like a pizza. For the amount of force and effort that got put into that move, I'm surprised your watch only had like a chunk of his side taken out and his arm off, considering he just disintegrated the other dude. But then you find out that he's a clone. Yamamoto gets his Bankai stolen. This man Yamamoto was like, damn. That's it. That's literally it. And I guess it's kind of Yamamoto's fault. He got engulfed by rage and didn't even notice it was a fake. But I mean, at the same time, it's like, it's tragic. So then your watch slices him, diagonal cut, so you know how he likes his sandwiches, and then the bottom half of this dude's body is still standing. He did that on some Whitebeard shit. Honestly, I would take those 2 halves of him, put them back together, and prop him up in the Soul Society somewhere. Or maybe just the bottom half. I feel like that would be like a little bit more like hard. And I forgot to mention, Aizen is also present in these parts. Still in the prison, your watch was trying to recruit him to the squad, and he didn't want to join because he knew he wouldn't be getting the ball as much as he wanted to. And you know how Aizen is. He's selfish. He's a score first type of guy. So he didn't want to be involved. That would just be opposing parties, which is understandable. But as Captain Yamamoto dies, why did some of the Quincy's, specifically this glasses dude, pull up with the firearms? And I know all of these Quincy's, they don't even know what a real fight is. He looks away for 1 second, dude whips it out, and then starts blasting his ass. Man, if you're gonna do that, do it to Soy Fan or something, man, not my twin. Oh my gosh, I thought he damn near died too. I was like, no shot. No, Soy Fan, no hate. You just gotta get stronger. Honestly, you gotta get stronger. And this is why I like this iteration of the show and how they've done this show, because it was gory. I don't want to get into like specific detail because I'm really not trying to get demonetized. And as this is happening, Ichigo is imprisoned underground by that one dude he was fighting. Even though he was kind of bodying him, he was trying to get back to the Soul Society, and he's seeing all this happen. And he's seeing everyone's flames dwindle out. And he's getting aggravated. Rightfully so, though. I would be pissed. He gets out of that cage and he's on a mission. He is on the run. And he instantly pulls up to Byakuya. And this is why I got kind of upset with the show. Byakuya. He is dead. He's on the brink. It's raining. And once you know there's rain, look at people like, what was it? Asuma? Didn't Asuma die in the rain? Didn't Jiraiya die in the rain? Once there's rain and you're beat up bloody like this, and Ichigo is standing here, they're not showing his face, so he's clearly distraught. Byakuya is a part of the wall now. He's given a whole monologue, speech to Ichigo, talking about everything that happened, the tragedies that happened, blah, 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 blah. I love Byakuya. Do I like to see him go? No. But I think this would have been a proper forward way of like killing him off the show. And he's crying too. Byakuya is asking him to please protect the Soul Society. I'm getting emotional. The rain is slowing down. We see a slow motion of the steam building up on this Ichigo because he is getting so heated that the rain is not even touching him, and his aura, oh my gosh, it is such a good scene. I can't even decide if episode 6 or 7 was better. And then we see this side profile of him and he's locked in. And I'm like, they should have killed off Byakuya right then and there. Ichigo launches his sword from his exact location of Byakuya, has that land in front of your watch, and he's ready to box. So he has a little boxing match with your watch, and they go at it, and it's a really good fight. It's not Yamamoto on your watch, but it's there, you know, it's really good. And then I guess it's time to retreat. All the Quincy's are retreating. I don't know who this sweetie is, but I'll see her next time because I know we'll meet again. And this was the week that I really hated the cliffhangers, because your watch had the audacity to turn around, not only look to Ichigo after Ichigo just got his sword broken, so he's already in a bad position. Look at me, knowing I have to wait a whole other 7 days, but then this man says my son born in the dark. I'm so confused, and I saw online that people actually didn't like the fact that he ended up being a Quincy. I personally, I don't care. I really think it's honestly a good plot point that they explain a little bit later on in the season. So when he says my son born in darkness, I'm losing my mind. But no, so after that point in the show is when the show kind of slowed down a little bit. You know, we meet Squad Zero, which is a squad who I guess is stronger than even the top captains, and I don't know where they were. I guess this is none of their business, and they didn't want to even get involved in this. And that's when we see Byakuya is still alive, and I got upset at that because it's like, why did they just put all that effort into killing him off, quote unquote, and he's back? That's one thing I really got me upset with the show. We saw a little glimpse of Grimmjow, which is good to see, and then considering that Harry Bell is also locked up, I'm gonna have to assume that we're working together with some of the Espada. And then we also added another member to the Bodacious roster, Miss Kirio. I mean, glad to have you. Honestly, it's really a pleasure. You know, this is a limited club, but I mean, all you Bleach ladies, anyone is honestly welcome. I don't even care the form that you're in. But then they start talking about training Kenpachi and then putting him up against Unohana, and I'm like, why Unohana? She's such a sweetheart. And then lo and behold, she's like in America's most wanted, most notorious criminal of all time. She's been catching bodies since day one, and I didn't even know that they called like Kenpachi like just the strongest person there. I thought Kenpachi's name was Kenpachi, so then I guess Unohana was the first Kenpachi, quote unquote. And they basically have to get him stronger, and they have a fight to the death. Now, again, this was no Yamamoto your watch. It was a fair runner-up. If they gave this fight maybe a little bit more time and a little bit more length, I think this will just be on par with the other one, because what made this fight so good is that these two are just psychopaths. And then we learned that Kenpachi actually looked up to her back in the day, and then he gave her like a run for his money back in his youth, and then she was talking about how he like lost the flame in his eyes or something, so she was trying to get him back into that mindset. She took out the braids, and maybe the braids were like so tight around her neck that it was like stopping the blood flow, therefore keeping her level-headed. She's been fiending for the day to let loose like this. And while they're fighting, Unohana is like edging this man Kenpachi, just killing him over and over again, healing him up instantly and putting him on the brink of death. And I guess this is getting like his ass tingling because he's getting progressively stronger every time. So this is the battle of the loonies. This is like a match made in heaven. That girl said, "Bankai Minazuka." I feel like you like characters more or less depending on how they release their Bankai. That's a top 3. There was some oomph in that key. She said, "Minazuki. Playtime is over, Nina." Like, see, this is where this fight had the potential, because just the crazy antics of both of these people. We have Unohana fighting on some calm, cool, and collected, and Kenpachi just screaming and going berserk, and both of them are just like having the time of their lives. And like the whole red background with her red sword, all like in this pool of blood. Kenpachi is just smiling through the whole thing, dude. He is enjoying it. And he has like a little sidestep thing, and he's catching her off guard, hitting her with a pew. This is hot. This dude's corroding and still smiling, and they're having like a dialogue, whether it's like verbally or internally with each other, and they're speaking telepathically. I don't know, but this is like a very love-hate relationship type of fight, and it's honestly kind of wholesome. Kenpachi, she may have some years on you. This is your wife, brother. And then he kills her, and he's holding her as she's dying in his arms. He's not upset that she's dying and that like he's gonna miss her. He just wants to fight more. He's like, no, I'm not done yet. Sitting over screaming and crying like a baby throwing a temper tantrum. This is just lunacy to another degree. This could have easily been his wife. I saw the connections here. Think of them as a dynamic duo and they had a kid. Oh my gosh. That kid would have been wicked. And then we basically finish this season with Ichigo having to get a new Zanpakuto. We start learning about his backstory, how his dad, being a Soul Reaper, was a captain, met his mother, who was a Quincy, and then Aizen was like genetically modifying hollows or some shit. And then the hollow, obviously she pulls up and then she's fighting the hollow with dude, Masaki. She got the nice little eyes, matching the hair, Masaki. Pulls up on the hollow, conjures up a little ass arrow as the hollow's biting her shoulder, domes up. What the oh my goodness. Masaki, that was probably, realistically, one of the sexiest things I've ever seen. That was impressive. Seeing her do that with the no fear in her eyes, just pulling up, helping the Soul Reaper out when they're honestly like opposing factions. It was really cool to see. Ichigo's dad basically sacrificed his powers to save her. Ichigo learns about this because that's what he needed to get his true Zanpakuto. He's chilling with Renji and Killer Bee's little brother. Ends up getting a dual-wield Zanpakuto. And everyone's going through their little training arcs. That's basically a summary of what happened. I've been talking for 70 minutes about this story. Obviously, I'm probably going to just cut it up into like 20. I don't know how I'm going to do that. But the story in itself, this whole season, I was engaged. I feel like everything makes sense. I love all the characters. The captains are all looking cool. The soundtrack was great. The fights were top notch. Like, they're really, honestly, this was damn near perfect. Genuinely, the only problem I had with this season was the Byakuya thing. I don't think there's any other problem that I had. No, you know what? The Byakuya thing and the fact that Unohana versus Kenpachi was not like longer. That's it. Anything else was perfect to me. You most likely went into this video knowing I was gonna at least rate this 9. Realistically, I'm giving Bleach 1000 Year Blood War Core 1 9.9 out of 10. 9.9. 9.9. I'm definitely being biased. I'm riding. I am, because I'm just a fan of the show. But if it was bad, I wouldn't be afraid to admit that it's bad. The structure of this video, I know it wasn't there. I was just talking. Sometimes I have it, sometimes I don't have the structure. And yeah, if you got to this point in the video, I do appreciate it. And appreciate a like on the video and subscribe to the channel. Without further ado, on to the next one.